Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Harris, and this is my presentation on global warming, its causes, effects, and geopolitics. Global warming is an increasingly serious phenomenon with potentially catastrophic consequences that are being marginalized by politicians. Melting glaciers, bigger hurricanes, and record flooding are becoming common weather events. Although we're getting used to these reports of extreme weather, I'm not sure how many people actually know that global warming is the cause. Now, according to a foreword written by Paul Higgins, who in 2014 was the Director of Policy for the American Meteorological Society, in the book Climate Change by Robert Henson, he says, society reached a critical point in climate change. Years of research by several different segments of the scientific community have identified man-made activities as being complicit in increasing the Earth's core temperature. This rise in temperature has been identified as the main cause for the constant increase in extreme weather events. Now, the top contributors to many politicians stand to lose a lot of money if the recommended actions are taken to decrease greenhouse emissions. The reason why automobile emissions and emissions from factories are so detrimental is because they hold infrared radiation in the Earth's atmosphere. How that works is the sun, of course, heats up the Earth, and then infrared radiation is emitted, or should I say, comes off from the Earth, and in many cases it just escapes out of the atmosphere. But in the case of water vapor reflects it out, and there are greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane gas actually bonds with this radiation and keeps it in the atmosphere, creating a warmer climate for us even at night. And on other planets that don't have an atmosphere, all of the Earth's heat, all the sun's heat, should I say, escapes, and then it makes inhabitable cold. Now, this is known as the greenhouse effect, but it is carbon monoxide and methane gas are the main gases that are produced when fossil fuels are burned. However, these fuels aren't the only cause of increased greenhouse gases. Oh, jeez, went too far. Deforestation is a very large contributor to the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Trees on a large scale, like in the Amazon and other rainforests and other forests in the world, these trees breathe in carbon dioxide and release oxygen into the atmosphere, of course minimizing the amount of greenhouse gases, that carbon dioxide that would be in the atmosphere. Now, when trees are cut down, of course, that reduces that ability. It's kind of like a two-edged sword. We're not only losing the beauty of the forests, but we're also losing that ability to reduce the carbon dioxide. Now, the domino effect that this causes is that because the heat rises on the Earth, and it'll get drier areas, we get a lot more forest fires, which, of course, we're experiencing in the west coast of the United States and in the north. Now, this, of course, in turn releases a lot more carbon dioxide and methane gas into the atmosphere, of course, making it that much more warmer, and thus we have the domino effect. There are a number of other changes in the weather that are contributed to this. The polar region has been experiencing large decreases in glaciers due to melting. Glaciers in the water have no effect on water levels. It's kind of like if you were to go to the store and you buy yourself a drink, and you forget about it, and the ice melts in the drink, but it doesn't run over because it's the same amount of water in there, it's just in a different consistency. It's not frozen, it's just water. It's actually the waters, the glaciers that are on land melting into the ocean that increases water levels and creates it's a big threat to coastal cities. In fact, in addition to this problem, another phenomenon is occurring. The changes in the growing patterns and migratory patterns are more results of climate change. According to a report in the journal Ecology Letters, some species will have to evolve at a rate of 10 times faster than previous evolutionary rates. In fact, ticks that carry Lyme disease are spreading a lot faster and moving to other parts of the country because of warmer temperatures. Normally what happens is in the wintertime, in the areas where the ticks with Lyme disease are mostly concentrated, the freezing weather comes in and kills them off. But because we're not having that type of weather there anymore, they're actually spreading to other parts and all the way up into Canada and spreading disease along with it. So the need for action is clear, but the urgency or maybe even the desire to act is not so clear. Policymakers are not so quick to take action concerning the threat, either because of bureaucracy or because of greed. It takes more than just the U.S. in order to make a difference in this problem. We're going to have to coordinate with other countries, other industrialized nations, to come to agreements, pretty much like we do with nuclear arms, as far as emissions are concerned, if we're really going to make a difference in the greenhouse gas effect. But for politicians, who a lot of times get their financing from these big companies, the oil companies and logging companies, it's kind of like it's a no-win situation for them. So they've been hiding behind the mantra of economic progress, and so what happens is they systematically has weakened the environmental protection laws. Now, in conclusion, there is much more that could be expounded upon about this problem of global warming. The fact is, global temperature are on the rise, and the consequences are increasingly widespread and catastrophic. We have an obligation to hold our elected officials to task so that there will be a planet left for our kids. Thank you.